hotel, you might ask? It is where beneficial insects can overwinter, during the winter months. So, what are beneficial insects? Why is a bug hotel even important for my backyard? Well, let me tell you. Do you guys have a garden at home? Do you have flowers? Definitely, if you have a garden, you need insects for pollination. And pollination helps those flowers and it helps those vegetables to set on fruit. And so we want to attract beneficial insects to our garden so that not only one, they can help pollinate, but beneficial insects eat the bad bugs in our garden, like the aphids or the mites. So I should have had this earlier this year because I needed beneficial insects for my flower plants because they had mites all over them. Okay, so today we're going to use a lot of recycled material. I walked around my yard this morning and picked up a variety of things. You can make bug hotels out of many different items. You can do it in a can, which we might make later, and you can just lay it flat. To make it even more fun for little kids, you can paint the outside, anything you want on it. I didn't have time to paint today, but today I'm going to do an old water jug, you can do a milk jug, and I'm going to make it in here, okay? So the first things first, of course it has to be empty, and I'm going to cut a spot open for my bee hotel. Now, as I'm doing this, you viewers, I would like to name my bee hotel something, and other than just bee hotel. So if anybody has a good suggestion, I would love for you to put it in the comments so that I can write on my bee hotel once I am done. So, of course, very carefully here, I'm going to cut open a section. Now, a thing with bee hotels, or bug hotels, is they're overwintering. So different beneficial insects need different spaces to overwinter in. So when I say overwinter, once it gets cold, they're going to find a place to burrow in and nest for the winter, where they're going to lay eggs and then they are going to hatch in the spring. And the reason we do bee hotels is so that we have them in our yard, so when they hatch in the spring, they're already there to help our yard. But if I don't have a bee hotel or places in my yard that they like to overwinter, then they're going to go to somebody else's yard, and I'm going to have to try to find ways to bring them back into my yard in the spring. So we're going to use our jug. Now generally, bee hotels or bug hotels or pollinator houses, these are all different names. They can be used with board, and you can make different boxes out of them, or think of even like a bird's nest or a bird house, but an open front. Well, this way I'm going to use rocks to kind of keep this down so it doesn't blow over. So we put rocks at the bottom. Now, I think the first thing I'm going to do is, I have all these different pieces, all right? So, sticks are great. So generally you can go find these in your yard, you can find these around your apartment complex, or you can even go to the park and pick up all of these materials, right? So the first thing I'm going to put in is I'm going to put in a lot of sticks. And I have some big ones here which I don't think are going to fit, but maybe I can just stick one down here just to add some section to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of lay some of my tree branches in here. I'm going to break them. Now, tree branches are good for ladybugs, okay? Ladybugs like to overwinter in groups, and they need dry material to overwinter in. And so twigs, a variety of twigs, is a great option for them to overwinter in. Now, how many people like ladybugs? I like ladybugs, but do you know why I like ladybugs? It's because they eat aphids. And aphids are types of bad bugs that you don't want in your yard, or your garden, or even on your vegetable plants, because aphids suck out all that chlorophyll, which is green in the plant, and they will eventually kill your plant if you don't have them taken care of. So ladybugs is a really nice organic way of taking care of aphids. So I'm just going to keep breaking and stacking. And then I'm gonna I have a few pine cones, so maybe I'll stick a few pine cones in here. Kind of layer it up. That's another dry material that bugs might go into. Now I have some pecan trees in my yard, so these are just some casings and even some seeds. So you know what, there's no right or wrong way to do a bug hotel or a pollinator house. It just needs all of these materials. So I'm just gonna pack some of these in here just to help my space. Now, other beneficial insects are bees. And bees are great because bees pollinate, right? That's the first insect we think of when we ask, what is a pollinator? So, generally, bumblebees and honeybees, honeybees go into their hive and they'll overwinter. Bumblebees actually dig a hole in the ground and they overwinter there. But solitary bees, anybody know what a solitary bee is? So some solitary bees are, have a little bit of orange on them. Some are even gray and almost mimic a big fly. But solitary bees are what it sounds like, bees that are on their own. They don't have a hive to go into. And solitary bees need a spot to overwinter because they don't go into the ground and they don't have a hive. So solitary bees like to overwinter in hollow things, okay? So generally you see a lot of bug hotels with bamboo because they have the solid holes in the middle. Well, I didn't have any bamboo in my yard. So we are gonna make some holes. Solitary bees they're like leaf cutter bees or solitary bees, they cut little holes. They will nest in here and they will lay eggs and then close it up and nest and overwinter. But you'll know if you have solitary bees because they'll start putting mud sections, and once they get to the top, it'll be mud filled and it'll be full. So I'm gonna use this cardboard, recycled cardboard, and I'm gonna kind of roll it into a hole. And I have an old toilet paper roll, and I'm gonna roll it in here. I'm gonna see if I can roll another one. Another way you can, not quite, but I might still stick it in here. Another way you can make holes is you can have wood, and you can drill holes into it so that you have holes. Different sizes are great because there's all different types of solitary bees. You don't want entirely too big because most big bees are pretty small. Bumblebees are not solitary bees. Bumblebees will go into the burrow into the ground. So you'll just kind of keep doing that here. I'm also gonna stick a little piece of bark in here too to help stay. All right. Then I'm gonna stick it in here. To keep it upright, I'm gonna just go like that. I'm gonna use my perfect. Now, I still might use some of this paper towel roll. Cut it in half. And I'm going to cut down this way. And solitary bees are less likely to sting you because they do not have a hive to protect. So these, again, are your beneficial insects that are very helpful to have in your yard. So again, they like these holes that they can go into, these hollow, if I can stick one in here. Get some pressure going here. Let's stick a big piece of bark right on top of that hole. So really, like I said, there's no wrong or right way. They just need all these insects need something to overwinter in, okay? So I'm gonna keep going, and and this is actually the first time that I've used a milk jug. Like, you can use these, lay them flat, cans of any sizes. Again, you can decorate them. Wooden straws, if you have any of those work really well. in your bee hotels. You can also, if you have a handy parent, or maybe you're really handy, you can build little boxes to put them in. You'll see some that have wire on the front of them. You can definitely do that. It's not you don't have to do that if you don't have any chicken wire or wire to put on the front. Okay, so here's my section for my bees, if I can make it stay. So here's some round section for bees. Ooh. Here's my section for ladybugs right underneath. Okay, so what other insects are beneficial insects that we might have in our yard that are going to need to overwinter? So there's different types of beetles, praying mantises, there's lacewings. These are all types of insects that are going to need a variety of leaf foliage, or just any type of material. So here I have some dry leaves that I'm going to make a mess and shove in here. And then I'm going to do a little bit of, let's see if I can get my pine needles to kind of layer in better. I might actually stick these back behind my branch here. And then I brought a bunch of different tree bark that had fallen off. I didn't peel this off my tree this morning. I'm going to stick this in here as well. Okay, and as I'm stuffing this with all different things, has anybody come up with a name for my bee hotel? I would love to name it something more than just bee hotel or bug hotel. So if you have any suggestions, please type that in the comment box. As I continue to just stuff with some old foliage that I found in my yard to really make it full. There goes my tree bark. Let's shove it back in there. I need more leaves fit right here in the top. Okay, how's that work? Pretty good. What I could have done is I could have cut it a little, not as wide, so it holds in a little tighter so my things aren't falling out. Again, I put the rocks in the bottom of this so that it just won't fly away or get blown away in this big Texas wind we have out here. And that is my bee hotel. So what I would do is I would go put this in a corner of my yard or in my flower bed, anywhere. And right now is a great time to put those out. They can stay out year round, or you can take them away, make new ones each year. It's completely up to you. Again, my twigs down here are for my ladybugs. They want that dry material, so twigs are great for that. These little hole sections here are for solitary bees. Bamboo is another good one to put in there. Or you can drill holes in different wood, or even if I had drilled a hole through this log, that would have worked perfect. And then all of my other plant litter of pine cones, leaves, some other bark, that will work for all my other beneficial insects, like my praying mantis, maybe even assassin bugs. There's different types of beetles that will all overwinter in here, okay? And like I said, you might see them in there and you might not. You'll see these bees here if they clog up these holes. And that's it. Really simple, easy way to use things in your yard or in your park, by your apartment complex, close places that you can gather these things and make bee hotels. So thanks for joining us today, and join us next week for Fun Friday.